He's soaring high, chasing the night. Bowman A3 Foxtrot, master of the air, gliding through the clouds like he's really there. Joystick in hand, engines on the rise, taking us with him through virtual skies.
From Cessnas to jets, he pilots them all. A captain of pixels, he answers the call. He loops, he banks, he dives with grace. The sky's his stage, his cockpit's the place.
Turbulence shakes, alarms might scream, but he's steady as a dream. Chat throws jokes, can you stick the land? He winks and says, I've got this plan. Oh, and an A3 Foxtrot, master of the air, gliding through the clouds like he's really there. Joystick in hand, engines on the rise, taking us with him through virtual skies. Sits in his cockpit, lit by a screen, fly in the skies where he's never been. Twitch chat buzzing like a tower call. An 83 Fox, he's got it all. With his wings of code, his heart of flight, he's soaring high, chasing the night. Oh man, A3 Foxtrot, master of the air, gliding through the clouds like he's really there. Joystick in hand, engines on the rise, taking us with him through virtual skies.
From Cessnas to jets, he pilots them all. A captain of pixels, he answers the call. He loops, he banks, he dives with grace. The sky's his stage, his cockpit's the place.
Turbulence shakes, alarms might scream, but he's steady as a dream. Chat throws jokes, can you stick the land? He winks and says, I've got this plan. Oh, and an A3 Foxtrot, master of the air, gliding through the clouds like he's really there. Joystick in hand, engines on the rise, taking us with him through virtual skies.
Hello again, everyone. Michael here with Felicity, November 8033 Fox, a Cessna flight training device that I built right here at home. It is Tuesday, the 11th of November, 2025. I do hope you are all well and safe wherever you may be around the world today. October was a rough month for me. There was several things that factored into life, that kind of factored into the streaming and flight simulation. It was just it was a horrible month. I'm glad that I'm past it, but I want to thank you all for your patience as I navigated through some of those turbulences that were unexpected throughout the month of October, between my admission to the hospital and the death of my best friend, and different schedules with the kids and things like that. It was a lot to kind of circumvent. So unfortunately, that kind of, pushed into life and things, and we weren't able to fly as much as I had wanted to. But now that I'm kind of over that hill, and, things are transitioning more normally, we've got some time today. So I want to continue on with our West Coast to East Coast tour here of the United States and our 172. When we ended leg 5, we landed at Kilo Bravo India Lima, which is Billings Logan International in Montana. That was our last stop. It is a Class Charlie here in Montana. So from here, we kind of need to figure out where we want to go for our next leg. Now let me just zoom out here. And I mean, what you see here is basically a straight line from, where we are at Billings to our final destination. It's essentially the most direct route possible through the United States. What we need to do now is figure out the next sensible leg from where we're at towards where we want to go. And at the end of the final tour, our final destination is going to be Kilo Bravo Golf Romeo, which is Bangor International. That's our last stop. That's where we want to go. We are all the way over here in Billings, Montana. So let's figure out how we can get to where we want to go from where we're at, while not getting ourselves into a bind. What we're looking for airports that have fuel available. We're looking for destinations that we can actually get to, from where we're at without having to stop for fuel. We're looking for leg to leg, and we're looking for our next destination to have fuel available. So looking at the Class Charlie here, looking east along our route, the first thing that shows up as far as a possibility would be, what is this? 00 uniform. So this is Big Horn County. Field elevation is about 3,025 feet, but it does look like it has fuel available. It is a Class Golf. It is underlying a military operation area. A couple of them, actually. So that's one possibility, but that's not very far from where we're at. So that's only 34 miles. That won't make a very good trip today for us. And if I continue to look along the tentative route, there's a bunch of MOA airspace here. Powder River, Gap A high and low. Powder River too high and low. Man, there's just a lot of military operation airspace. So I'm wondering if it might be more beneficial for us at this point to maybe traverse south of those military operation airspaces and possibly see what's available there. So the next thing I see with a METAR anyway is Sheridan County, Kilo Sierra Hotel Romeo. That's right here to our southeast. It is below or south of those military operation areas. So if we rubber band us kind of down there, that will keep us out of those military operation areas. It looks like it puts us more in line with some other airports to continue our route with. So if we take a look at this leg here that was just created by rubber banding us down to Sierra Hotel Romeo from Billings, that's what? Roughly 93, 94 nautical miles. That could be a good leg. Time is about 8 o'clock Eastern, so that should fit the time that I have available. But looking forward, it looks like that puts us a lot better on track with some other airports that we could stop at, for our next couple of legs. Just for curiosity, I'm gonna rubber band down here to this other Delta. What is this? Golf Charlie Charlie. And so that next leg would be about 70 miles. So that could be another good tentative next flight for this tour. But I think it might be most beneficial to fly south, stay out of the military operation areas, so that we don't even have to worry about it. We can just depart out of the Charlie, fly southeast, and land at Sheridan County. I think I like that plan. So I think we ought to go ahead and focus on that leg. So we will fly from Billings Logan International southeast to Sheridan County. So let me go ahead, and what I'm going to do is just kind of save this. Let me see here. West to east, going to save that one. Do we want to use it for this route as well? Yes. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is go down through here. And then I'm going to delete this one. Then what I'm going to do now is going to create a whole new flight plan from Billings, KBIL, to KSHR. That's not what I wanted. Alright. So there we have our leg for today kind of plotted out there. Let's go ahead and pack for this, and then we'll do a full flight briefing on this particular leg and make a go no go decision based on the information presented. And that's the downside of ForeFlight. Like, each leg is factored as one flight, and realistically that's how it is, but when it comes to flight planning across, a whole West Coast to East Coast tour, then I have to break that down into individual flights, not individual legs on one flight. That's really the only way that I can accurately brief this in ForeFlight. And since we are heading east, VFR, let's just say, let's plan 7,500 feet for terrain. If we don't have to go that high, that's fine, but we might have to go that high just for terrain in the area. So 7,500 feet. Let's go ahead and make our departure time now. And we'll send this over to a flight. And then we will go ahead and brief this flight here. Billingsley to SHR 7500 VFR. That's not what I want. I want to get the wrong plane selected here apparently. Okay, let's try this now. We'll send this over to a flight. I keep my ForeFlight. I have multiple aircraft in ForeFlight. A couple of them are the actual real world aircraft, and then, the one is a simulator. So I don't like to plan anything with the real world aircraft tail numbers. I plan it with the simulator. So that's why I had to switch aircraft real quick, but got that going. And let's take a quick look at this flight briefing. Right now, ForeFlight is queuing and pulling all of the relative information from FAA weather sources and windy.com and any other information source that it has access to. It queues that and then it kind of packages that all together into this flight briefing that we're going to look here. Closed or unsafe NOTAMs. Billings has runway 0725 closed per NOTAM. Surface analysis chart kind of goes over the pressure systems in the area. METARs. Yeah, not a whole lot in the area, but everything does appear to be green VFR. I don't see anything indicating a overcast or broken cloud layer, which would be our ceiling. So there, everything looks good. Cloud coverage, we're kind of to the east of that cloud coverage area in Wyoming here. Visibility, surface winds, and precipitation. We're going to kind of skip right over this one. Terminal area forecast. Well, there's not a lot of forecasting stations between where we're at and where we're going. But both of them do appear to be green. I don't see any sort of red or pink or even blue that might make me pay a little bit more attention to what it's saying here. But winds 14, gusting 20 out of Billings. And then we have winds are variable at 4 coming in to land. So it shouldn't be much of a factor. Vertical cross-section chart. It's one of my most favorite through this whole briefing here. The blue line is our... Alright, correction. This is the wind chart. Not what I was looking for. But the wind kind of starts at the black dot and it makes its way... Okay. Correction. This is one of the backwards ones. The wind starts at the top of the flagpole and makes its way towards that black dot. So we're going to kind of start off with sort of a quarterling tailwind. Well, it's all kind of a quarterling tailwind. Just sort of the direction of the wind coming from our tail changes as we make our way along here. Starts off as like a northern quarterling tailwind and then ends off as a western quarterly tailwind. But either way, we're going to be getting a tailwind push from the looks of things. Alright, this is what I was looking for. This is the vertical cross-section chart. Okay, well, we may have to modify our cruise altitude just a little bit. What we're looking at here is sort of a full encompassing picture. So this blue line that you see towards the bottom running left or right, that in fact is our cruise altitude. So that includes climb and cruise and sort of descent type stuff. The green is the terrain in our area, and then we have some wind and temperature information there. But what I'm looking at is this blue line that sort of cuts across an entire shaded area of green. So what that's telling me is that my selected altitude is relatively lower than the average terrain elevation in the area. So we may have to work around and climb and kind of go around things to get to where we need to be. Winds aloft 35. See, I thought I filed 7,500. Did I not? What is going on here? Did I not file 7,500 feet? Okay. Alright, let's try this just again real quick. Alright, so it's 3,500. Let's go back up here to 7,500. Set this back into a flight. Then I'm going to kind of expedite through a lot of this stuff here, because what I want to look at is information for 7,500 feet, not 3,500 feet, which is for some reason what it had. So I'm going to skip over this stuff here. Wind chart, okay, vertical cross section. Alright, so now we see that this looks a little bit different. And this looks more like it makes sense to me looking at this vertical cross section chart here. So now we see this blue line that sort of goes up, across, and down. So that looks more like what I would expect it to look for our climb up, and then our cruise, and then our descent. So now we can see that the blue is not over top of the green by much margin at all, except for towards the end there. Winds aloft at 7,500 feet. Winds coming out of the west at 23 knots upon departure, and then about 16 knots upon arrival. 285 and then 298 respectively. So we still have sort of a west-northwest wind throughout the entire trip. And then we have a bunch of departure NOTAMs, destination, bunch of NOTAMs that don't really apply to our flight on VATSIM, but of course it would apply to a real-world flight. So, weather-wise, we're good. Terrain, I think we're mostly good. We're probably good throughout going direct. But we saw there at the end of the briefing how the terrain was relatively higher than our cruise altitude of 7,500 feet. That doesn't mean that, Oh, I guess I muted myself. I don't even know when that happened, but guess what I need to know now is let's go ahead and take a quick look and make sure that need to make sure that billing, or not Billings, but what is it, Sheridan County? We need to make sure that Sheridan County is actually available in X-Plane. So I'm just going to search for KSHR. Alright, so I do see here that Sheridan County KSHR is available in X-Plane. The latest recommended scenery was done... Okay, the latest recommended scenery was done in 2018, so that's about 6 years ago. So hopefully it'll be alright. And then JDS Fan Club says, we've only muted for like 2 minutes, couldn't get the kill. Okay. Alright, well, I guess that's 2 minutes is not terrible. That's not as long as what I thought it might have went, which would have been even worse. Okay, so we know that the airport we want to go is available in X-Plane. We know that the weather is good. And I don't see any other reasons for us to not make the trip today. Pre-flight and walk-around has already been completed on the aircraft, so that part is done. So we should be able to just get up in there and go. And JDS Fan Club, thanks for coming into the chat today. Greatly appreciated. So yeah. Let's go and fly leg 6 of our West Coast to East Coast tour. I'll see you over in the aircraft in just a moment. Thank you so much for coming in.
Teammate is up. Mic check when ready.
Alright. Hello again, everyone. My name is Michael. Welcome aboard Felicity, November 8033 Fox. And I probably should have parked her closer to the hangar. I feel like it took me a long time to walk out here. But I hope you're all doing well. We do have Shirley, our AI co-pilot, on board with us today. Hello, Shirley. How are you doing?
Shirley back in a Cessna 172F. Doing great, Michael. Ready when you are.
Alright, good deal. So, for our world tour, or our United States tour, West Coast to East Coast, I've been filling out a flight log here. So let me go ahead and put this next section in here. Man, the last date was 9/26. It's 11/11. Man, I'm sorry we hadn't been able to do one of these legs for so long. So September 26th, it's now November 11th. We're in a C-172F, November 8033 Foxtrot. We're here at Billings. Our goal destination is Sierra Hotel Romeo, KSHR. Flight duration, single engine land. I don't think I can fill anything out until we actually get there. Okay. Hobbs time 11:03.0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. $11.03. Then we have 108.3 on the hubs. Okay. So we got that information filled out there. Alright, like I said, pre-flight and walk around is already done. Moving right along here to our interior checklist. Circuit breakers are in. All static air is in. Okay. Alright, we're moving right along to our startup checklist here. Avionics are off. Seat track, let's get scooted up a bit. Reach the flight controls, okay. Carpeet's off, mixer's gonna go for rich. Throttle slight. Let's get 3 on the engine primer. Slowly pull it out. Push it in. There's 1. Out. Push it in. There's 2. And then out. And push it in. There's 3. Okay. 3 on the engine primer there. Master's gonna go on. Beacon's gonna go on. Okay, brakes are on. Clear prop. Let's go ahead and make sure that we are clear everywhere. We are clear on the left, clear front, clear right. Okay. And then mags are gonna go to start. Here we go. Hey, we do have engine rotation. Oil pressure's in the green. Okay. Alright, everything looks good there. Alright, startup checklist is complete. Okay, what do we got here? Let's get avionics on, bus 1, bus 2. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is a significant delay between what I'm doing and what I'm seeing on my live stream. So I need to keep that in mind. I'm not sure why the live stream is delaying so much, but I can see that it does have a significant delay. So
System test okay.
So I apologize about that. Kurt Deasy, hello my friend. Hey, happy Veterans Day, for what it's worth. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're still in, but happy Veterans Day nonetheless. Pleasure to see you, brother. Okay, did that, okay. Pre-taxi checklist, seat belts. Seat belts are good. Flaps coming up. Avionics on, ATIS, AWAS. Field elevation here. Add to billings is 3662. $62. What is about 3008? Okay. Heading indicator to compass. Looks good there. Transponder on altimeter mode. Alright, that essentially completes our pre-taxi checklist, more or less. Oh, it might help if I actually go connect to the VATSIM network. Let me go and do that real quick. Kurt is a crew chief on the F-18 as a civilian. Outstanding. Okay. think everything else is ready to go. Denver Center and a Canadian Flight Service Center is online. I don't think either of those are gonna be beneficial to us today. I seriously doubt we're in Denver Center's area. Alright, yep, because here's Billingsley. Here's us. Alright, so yep. Alright, so we just have to make calls as normal. Edis here is what? Billings 126.3. I don't know why I don't get that Edis. Alright, let's try this. 1263. Volume should be coming in. Alright, so I'm still gonna have to delve into why native ATIS is broken when using VATSIM. And even after connecting, I still go through the menu and enable the default explain ATIS, and I still don't hear it. So that's gonna have to be something to delve into at a later point in time. But we do have the numbers just to kind of go over everything here. Winds are 310 at Niner. Altimeter is interestingly, it doesn't even say it on this page. Altimeter is 3002. Okay. Should be good. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Yeah, we don't even have anything on, so we're just going to be Unicom, essentially, which is, well, CTAF, which is what? What is our CTAF? Of course. Alright, well, we'll just use Unicom. 122.905. Okay. That connects us to our local Unicom, not even CTAF. The winds were 310. So I'm going to say runway 28. And because I'm small and agile and things like that, I'm gonna say 28 left. It's just a much less of a taxi roll. So, okay. What am I at here? Billings traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. We're at the ramp, gonna taxi to runway 28 left for departure Billings. Alright, parking brakes coming off. Whoa, that's not the way to 28 left. That is. Oh, Melvin, you are my savior in grace today. It's fine. We're gonna go to 28 left. And we'll be fine. Alright, here's an entrance. Is this us? 28 left. Hotel, yep. Looks good to me.
Approaching runway 28 left.
Approaching runway
Enter runway 28 left. 3,700 feet remaining.
Outstanding. Okay. Run up checklist. Brakes are on. Fuel's on both. Trim is set for takeoff. Flight control. Let's work a box pattern. Okay. Everything feels good and correct there. Flight controls are good. Instruments are good. Mixture's in for best power. Primer's in and locked. Okay, 1600 on the tachometer. Hold those brakes, Michael. Left mag, there's a drop. Back to both. Right mag. Back to both. Carb. Pull the power back. Alright, carb heat is good. 1500. Carb heat off. Alright, suctions in the green. Oil pressure, oil temperature look good. Fuel flow look good. Alright, let's idle back here. Alright, I think our run-up checklist was good. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary there. We'll sort of compass our pre-takeoff into that. Strobe lights going on. Heading indicator to compass. Okay. Looks good there. Alright, so essentially our run-up checklist is complete. Let's see. Alright, we still don't have ATCs. That'll be fine. What do we want to say here? Like Billings traffic or Billings Tower? How is it labeled? How is it labeled? It's labeled as Billings Tower, Billings Ground. Okay. Billings traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. We are at runway 2. We're at runway 28 left and making way for departure for the left downwind Billings traffic. God, that was a horrible traffic call. I had to kind of stop myself and double check. Like, am I talking to Billings traffic? Is this who I need to be talking with? That was horrible. But I think it was accurate, so let's go ahead and go here. Strobes are gonna go on, okay. Billings traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot, taking 28 left, downwind departure Billings. Okay, strobes are on. Final approach is, well, actually I see somebody over there. Who the hell is over there? Alright, full power. Yep, there was another plane over there. I'll be. Alright, we'll rotate speed when the green instruments are alive. Let's rotate. Alright, we got positive rate. So the other aircraft that I saw on the ground was Kilo Alpha Papa 1776. I mean, it is what it is. I was in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to see anyone else in the middle of nowhere. But since we were both in the middle of nowhere, figured I would just let him know that he's not alone in the middle of nowhere. Alright, how we doing here? We're clear. Alright, altitude looks good. Let's lift our left wing. That looks clear. Let's roll into our downwind turn. Billings traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. It's on the left downwind, 28 left Billings. Alright. We need a heading of 122 degrees to intercept Kilo Sierra Hotel Romeo. It's our next destination. I think I actually wanted to be 7,500 feet. Let's go ahead and climb up to 7,500 feet. And while we're at it, I'm going to test my angle of attack indicator here. What I want to know is if it's following my actual angle of attack. Alright, so there's red. It's indicating about 60 miles per hour. So that's probably about accurate. There's our stall horn. I'm going to push the nose forward because we don't want to stall. Alright, gonna pull the nose back. Let's pitch back up to maybe 80 miles per hour. $70. Well, if we can just keep this climb in, it'll be alright. About 60 mile per hour climb. Almost 7,000 feet. Alright, so we're getting there. $7,200. We're almost at 7,500, which was my cruising altitude for today. And there's 7,500. Let's just level off here. We don't need to push it to see how far our stall speed is. If you wanted to know that, I would just tell you, like, here we go. Alright, stall's imminent, stall's imminent.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Wow, why are we not recovering from this? We should be recovering.
Pull up.
Sorry about this.
Pull up.
We should be recovering.
Pull up. Pull up.
Wow.
Pull up.
This is not good.
Pull up.
Not good.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Oh boy.
Pull up.
Not good, people.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
So,
Uncrashed.
that wasn't very good. Why did we not respond from that stall? Like, everything was there. No power, opposite rudder, ailerons neutral, slightly forward. Nothing recovered us from that stall spin. And it was barely even, like, it was just past the incipient stage. Like, it was barely even fully developed, and here we are on the ground because for some reason we couldn't recover from that particular stall spin. Alright, let's go ahead and reset us. Where are we at? Are we at anything even close? Probably not. Alright, give me just a second. Man, so that mishap unfortunately looks like it started us off at the very beginning at Billings. Could have swore there would have been a field between here and there. Alright, so we're going to try a Hail Mary attempt here. I don't do this often. I'm sorry for having to do this. But just for time, I'm going to expedite our startup here. Let's clear. Okay, beacon, lights, avionics. Alright. Where are we at here? Alright, so we're close to the 10 left. Are we closer to 28 left? Well, it looks like we're just gonna start over from the beginning. Could have swore there was a field between here and where we spun out at. Then I'm actually gonna have to look into that because I don't understand why we didn't recover from that stall spin. Hawker coming in. Hey, my friend. Hope you're doing well. We are unscrewing our mess up here.
Approaching runway 0725.
We departed here a little bit ago. And then... Whoa, what is this? Why does this even look like a runway? Because I guess it was a runway. Let's get off of that. So Hawker, I decided to depart out of Billings, Montana. And then I decided to try a stall spin scenario, and for some reason we couldn't recover. So we'll have to redepart out of where I just departed out of momentarily ago. It's almost like deja vu, but...
Approaching runway 10 left, 28 right.
Hey my friend, I hope you're doing well.
Entered runway 10 left, 28 right.
Alright, we're clear there, we're clear here.
Approaching runway 25.
We got about the same amount of runways, so let's just do it. And then we're not going to try any sort of inadvertent stall spins until I figure out why we didn't recover from that one. Airspeed's in the green, instruments are alive, nothing on the annunciator panel. Alright, we're green, everything's good, let's rotate, got positive rate, climbing out. Hawker, glad to hear you're doing well. I am alright as well myself.
TOS, system test okay.
Alright, no delay. Lift our left wing, looks clear, no traffic. Let's go ahead and turn on course here. Alright, on course is achieved. Sight picture looks good. Alright, I think we're about back. I think we are about back where we were before we crashed initially. What I see ahead of me is some antennas. I don't know if they're TV or satellite or radio. But what I see here are certainly satellite radio antennas.
Roger.
Hey Shirley, are you able to look at a VFR sectional and tell me if there is like a antenna array, or I see a bunch of antennas in the area. I'm curious if they're depicted on the sectional.
I don't have access to sectional charts. Unknown.
Okay. Good enough. JJ, hello. Looks like you picked up the Honeycomb Alpha recently. Been taking a minute to get used to it because you've been using the Hostess X for so long. Honeycomb makes a great product from my understanding. So that's awesome.
Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead.
Now we obstacle ahead.
Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead. Pull up. Obstacle ahead. Pull up.
Well, whatever the obstacle was, it's not being depicted in here, so it's fine. What are we at? About almost 5,000 feet. Let's get up to 5,500.
Class Charlie above.
Do I have any tips regarding power and pitch before landing? Yeah, I can kind of chime in here in just a moment. Alright, 5,500. Okay, JJ. So, I'll preface this by saying I am not a flight instructor whatsoever, by no means. Like, you know, I'm certainly not a flight instructor. What I will tell you is that they tell me that you want to pitch for airspeed and power for altitude. So how far back or how far you push forward on your yoke, you know, the steering wheel, that's your pitch. Then how much engine RPM, that's your power. So they tell me to pitch for airspeed and power for altitude. So by that they mean to maybe pull back on the yoke on the nose until you get to about 10 or 15 degrees nose up altitude. Then they want you to use power or engine RPM to compensate for that. The more RPM you use, you might climb. The less RPM you use, you might descend. So if you're coming in for landing, they want you to pitch for altitude, power for descent. So let's just try and simulate this right now. Right now I'm doing I'm doing 95 knots. I'm doing 95 knots in my 172. I want to land at, let's say, 70 knots. That's what I want to land at. But I'm doing 95 now. Sasquatch, yep, you can try and explain it a little different. So I'm doing 95 now, but I want to come into land. Well, say I'm doing 105, but I want to come into land about 95. So I'm going to pull my power back. Okay. They say you want to pitch for airspeed in. Sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I believe it's backwards. I believe it should be pitch for altitude and power for airspeed, but that's neither here nor there. So you want to pitch for airspeed. So say you want to go 95 miles per hour. Okay. And I'm going, what am I at, about, I just pitched, so there's about 93 miles per hour, but I'm descending at 500 feet per minute. Now let's say I wanted to stop that descent but still go 93 miles per hour. I put more power in. Okay, that's gonna keep me going 93 miles per hour, but not as steep of a descent angle. And then he says set your speed to 80. If you feel too high, pull the power back. You will have to point the nose down to keep the airspeed. If it's too low, put the power in. And you have to lift the nose. Yeah, so same thing. On speed or on altitude. Still doing about 95 on a 500 foot per minute descent here. Yeah, so and even now I get confused, sometimes get confused or have a hard time understanding, but pitch and power go hand in hand, and sometimes I feel like pitch and power are backward. Other times I feel like they work like they should. So yeah, right now it's really kind of hard to say. But like, yeah, I guess it just depends on what you want to prioritize. Do you want to prioritize your angle or do you want to prioritize your speed? You can prioritize your angle by increasing or decreasing your speed, and you can prioritize your speed by decreasing or increasing your angle. Alright, how are we doing now? We got about... Got about 68 nautical miles to go until we get to our destination. I wanted to do that at least 5,500 feet. Alright, 5,500. Alright. I got about 65 nautical miles to go. And where are we at? 66,000? Now let's get up to 7,500. Let's go ahead and expedite that climb. Get up, just get up there. Then we'll be there. Let's not climb higher than BX. Alright, pushing nose forward. Nose forward. There's 6,500. So you're going to maintain a climb of about 60 miles per hour or so. Right, it's about 7,000 or so. Alright, we're climbing up through 7,500. Yeah, no crap, Hawker. Like, I feel like I'm gonna fall out of the sky here. We don't have any jettison tanks. Alright, we're almost 7,500. We're almost there. Alright, just about there. Alright, here we go. Let's level off here. Let's trim for this. Hawker says need some Jado bottles for the climb. That's pretty much an accurate statement. Our climb was achieved, but it was not without a lack of performance. Says it got about 30 minutes or so to wheels down. Alright, let's talk a little bit about where we're going here. Sheridan County. Runway 0624 is closed. So that leaves us runway 1533, 8,300 feet long. Based on the weather, let's see, 15 and 33. Runway 15 would be the best way to approach this.
Roger, 15.
So it looks like we will be crossing over midfield to join a left downwind for runway 15. Does that sound like a good idea to you, Shirley? Cross over midfield, join the left downwind runway 15 at Sheridan.
No runway 15 at Sheridan. They've got 0523, 1331, and 1432.
Wait, what? Alright, Shirley, let's go ahead and recorrect. Did you say that Sheraton had runway 1432?
Affirm, 1432.
I guess we'll go ahead and take runway 14 at Sheridan. Shirley? My information gives me 1533. Shirley might have some outdated information.
Could be. I'm showing 1432, 1331, and 0523.
Yep, okay, Shirley, so we're gonna go for runway 14.
Runway 14 set.
So from here, it looks like we'll just be able to cross over and join a left downwind runway 14. Alright, I've got the navigator holding us on a heading hold of about 120 on an altitude hold of 7,500 feet. I will be right back. You're in good hands. Okay, well, I'm glad that the navigator didn't put us into the ground. But it seems like our ground got a lot closer. I wonder if we increased our ground level some. Okay, how are we doing here? About 30 miles out? We'll be alright.
Roger, 30 miles out.
Yep. Shirley, don't Roger. Go ahead and confirm. Are we 30 miles out? Or farther?
35 miles out.
35 miles out. Alright, that confirms with the 650, so good to go there.
35 miles out.
Okay. Alright, so from what I'm looking at now, we've got about 28 nautical miles from us until our final destination to conclude leg 6 of our west coast to east coast tours. Got about 25 nautical miles or so to go. Based on weather information, I'm thinking I'm going to want to cross over midfield for runway 15 and land runway 15. Now again, runway 15 and 33 is 8,300 feet long. That is the longer of the two. The other runway 0624 is closed and it is 5,040 feet long. So runway 15 and 33 is going to be what it is. And yeah, it's essentially just going to be a crossover and land. There's nothing, there's nothing that's going to, from what I can tell, change that. So pattern entry should be typically normal. Approach to landing should be pretty normal. It's just going to be a crossover midfield to grab the left downwind, runway 15. Heading indicator to compass, let's check that. Alright, I believe I have the airport environment in sight directly off of my nose.
Destination ASOS is 135.175.
135175. I'll go ahead and tune that, but I don't know if we'll get that or not. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, we still don't get the VATSIM ATIS when we're connected, despite what I have selected. Alright, we're about 7,500 feet or so. Probably about 15 nautical miles away from our final destination for leg 6 of our West Coast to East Coast tour. Kilo Sierra Hotel Romeo, Sheridan County. Field elevation is 4,021 feet. We are at 7,500 feet. We have about 3,500 feet to lose. We have about 9 nautical miles to do it. So so we have, if we do about 400 feet per mile, that'll get us down there, but mile is not minute. So let's just initiate about a 500 foot per minute descent here. Let's pull some power back, richen the mixture up. Pattern is going to be 4,800. Okay, so it's 800 AGL, not 1,000 like normal. And again, we're going to cross over 33 to head runway 15. Well, actually, that correction. We're just gonna land at runway 15. Sheridan County traffic. We need 123.0. Sheridan County traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. We're about a 4-mile final approach, runway 15, full stop, Sheridan. Man, there's another airport just over that way, and that's what I was aiming for, but that's not what I wanted. So we have this other runway right here, which is what we wanted, but are we gonna be able to get it? I don't know. Let's go ahead and pitch up, bleed some airspeed off. I don't know if we'll be able to get down there or not. Alright, we're in the white arc. Let's grab flaps 10. Sheridan County traffic, Skyhawk 8033 Foxtrot. It's final approach 15.
1 mile final runway 15.
Little high, little fast.
Yes, Shirley, little high, little fast is correct. I'm glad you were able to point that out.
$500.
500.
We're good.
Nice work.
Alright, let's see if we can get off at Bravo 3 and then Bravo and Alpha. Whoa. Didn't want to go that way. Right, Bravo 3. Let's go Bravo, Alpha. Terminals this way. Alright, let's head over here towards what might be general aviation. And then we will park and shut down. Alright, this 76 fuel station looks good. Let's just pull right over here. Alright, start our shutdown. Alright, pre-landing did that stuff, did the landing part. After landing, flaps are up. Okay, stirrups off. Okay, landing light off. Okay, trim. Set for takeoff. Okay. Trim. Okay, transponder. Alright. Avionics going off. Mixture to lean. Mags. Master. Beacon. Parking brake. Alright. Well, we made it to leg 6. Destination. Let's head back to the hangar. We will chit chat for a couple minutes and say goodnight. Alright, everyone. I would like to say thank you for coming in and hanging out for leg 6 of our West Coast to East Coast tour. This leg brought us from Billingsley, Wyoming, Kilo Bravo India Lima, down to Sheridan County, Kilo Sierra Hotel Romeo, and that is also in Wyoming. So state to state, but we did get about 96 miles on that leg, which is still just sort of a drop in the water of the ocean of distance between the whole West Coast to East Coast of the United States. But 96 miles is still 96 miles, so I can't complain too much about that. Other than that, the release of X-Plane 12.3.0 is working out splendidly. I don't have any problems with the release of 12.3.0. None whatsoever. Hopefully none of you are either. If you are experiencing issues, I do highly encourage you to go ahead and file the appropriate bug reports. And you can find a bug reporter website just by Googling X-Plane bug report or reporter. See it, sort it, solve it. That's how we get through these X-Plane bugs. But so far for me, 12.3.0, it's proven very worthwhile. I haven't had any issues with it, but I don't ask a lot from it per se. I generally fly Cessna variant aircraft, which is almost always using the same object aircraft, just a different variant. So the aircraft very rarely changes. My scenery is pretty simplistic, with Ortho for XP and SimHaven and Global Force. That's really all that I throw at it, other than custom airports. So not a whole lot of custom scenery. But I don't experience a whole lot of problems with my install of X-Plane. So, I hope you don't either. I really hope everyone is enjoying the latest release of X-Plane, because it's... And I was just going through this earlier today, comparing, 12.3.0 to, what I was testing in 12.1.0 and 12.1.4 and even 12.2.1, and just seeing some of the changes between those versions and now are pretty drastic. So they're definitely coming a long way. They have some ways to go, but for the most part, I think that out of the box, 12.1.3 is pretty problem free. Until you start throwing a bunch of add-ons at it, which is not a topic for this discussion this evening. But I do hope you all had a good time as we flew leg 6. And until our next adventure, I do hope you all take care and stay safe. Take care of each other. That's really, really important nowadays. Especially nowadays, take care of each other. And until our next unscheduled flight, I do hope you all take care and stay safe. Let's see who we can go and continue our evening enjoyment with today. Let's see who's flying anything, anywhere. Alright, let's go and raid my friend Jeffrey Becker's, Jeffrey B. Looks like he is controlling Reading Pennsylvania on the VATSIM network. So let's go and raid Jeffrey B. You all take care, stay safe. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I will see you on our next unscheduled flight. Until then, take care.